Should the Prime Minister cancel the 5 days of Christmas? And second, will he?
Well, these are really big questions. You and I are debating this. It's being debated across the country. The place where I'd like to see this being debated is, in fact, Parliament, because it's such a big decision. There's no doubt this has been the toughest of years. The Prime Minister was working really hard to liberate those restrictions, to give us all such a much needed break over the Christmas period. But the guidance was drawn up in November, when the outlook was looking very different indeed, where we had the capacity, if you like, to sustain any increase in the R rating to manageable levels. But the situation in the UK, actually not just in the UK, but right across Europe, is very bleak indeed. The glide path is going the wrong way, not just in London, the UK, but in Germany, in France, Spain, Portugal. They're all looking at either lockdowns or hiring tiering systems. So much as I want everybody to have a break, it's important that we do get this right. This remains the biggest crisis that we've faced since the war. It's a dangerous and enduring emergency, and we mustn't forget that.
It's a dangerous and enduring emergency, and yet we do not have statistically particularly worrying excess mortality at this current time. We are not seeing anything like the number of people dying from COVID. It's a 10th in London, where we're told there's this, the word surge keeps being used. It's not what actually the data shows at all. We're a tenth of the peak in April. In terms of COVID admissions to London's hospitals, again, where we've got this so-called surge, it's a quarter of where we're in March and April. You say it's very bleak indeed. If you actually look at the graphs for hospitalisations and deaths at this time of year, in any other year, it's remarkably similar to any other year. Why have we not locked down before or cancelled Christmas before?
Well, we've not faced a pandemic on this scale before.
We've faced flu. We have faced very, very, very bad flu winters where we've lost tens of thousands of people.
This country has not faced a pandemic in our generation on this scale. Let's make that really, really clear. And the three big numbers are the number of cases every day, which we're now averaging 18,000. The number of patient beds being occupied.
Average weekly case numbers is going down.
Let me just finish my point. You've got they may be going down slightly. They're still well above what they were in April. Okay, so we have about roughly 18,000 people getting COVID every day.
Tobias, we weren't testing people in April. We didn't have access to tests, so people were getting.
You need to let me finish my point.
No, but you need to make points which are valid. That is, we do not have more people with COVID now than we had in April. That is simply not true.
If you let me finish my point, then I'll explain. So, 18,000 cases a day. Yes, you're right, because we're testing more. What is up, though, is the number of patients that are getting COVID that are in hospitals. That is right. That is rising every day by 1,000, okay? And then the number of deaths is now around 500. These are stats that equate to where we were in April. We had 19,000 beds occupancy in April, on April the 12th. That was the worst point. And don't forget, the pressure on the NHS is what this is all about. On current
it's all about the NHS.
On current trajectory, we're about to peak over that 19,000, and that means we'll be worse than in April. All I'm simply saying is let's have a proper debate about it, because when this was put together was back in November. Where we're looking at now is very different indeed. I simply pose the question, yes, we can let all our hair down for 5 days over that Christmas period, but do we really want to throw away the good work that we've gone to when a vaccine is coming around the corner and risk a third wave and potential a third lockdown? I'm simply asking the questions, and I would like a debate to take place in Parliament. That is my job.